What is cracking, McFreaking lacking, boys and girls? We're back at it with another Pokemon Randomizer Nuzlocke. Yes, it is. That's what it's called. I don't want to hear anything else. That's what it's called. It's also, I don't know what to say now. I've had my moment, I guess. Good times, though. We had some good times. You guys ever, like, think about... this is a weird one. You guys ever think about, like, space and, like, time and stuff? I do. I think it's so sick. I think about it a lot, because, like, I always think, like, that would be, like, a really sick power to have. I know it sounds super weird, but, like, I've always wanted to, like, control, like, space and stuff. That'd be sick. I don't know, that's just me. Like, I don't know, because space for me, it's just, it's scary too. It's very scary, because like if you think about it, it's just a huge abyss of darkness and just, it's too big. It's huge. We're just waiting for an encounter. That's why we're doing this, because we do have an encounter here. But it's freaking huge. Love it. Oh, don't love it as much. But no, dude, it's way too big. Way too big. Like, it's so scary. And, like, most of the planets, I think most of the planets are uninhabitable, too. Space in general is uninhabitable. Well, I think we're trying to inhabit, but that's so, I don't know, that's scary as hell. And, like, I can't never be an astronaut. I just can't. I don't think we have a name. A Fred. He's gonna be a Fred. That's what his name is. Freb. Frebs. Yeah, his name is Frebs. But no, I can never be an astronaut. Like, it's cool as hell, the whole zero gravity shit. That's dope. That's sick. No, don't get me wrong. That's super cool. But now think about it. Think about it. Have you guys ever seen a show, not a show, a movie called Gravity? I think it was what it's called. And like was it Anne Hathaway? Or, no, it wasn't Anne Hathaway. Who was it? I can't remember what the actress was. Was George Clooney in it? No, right? I can't remember who was in it, because I didn't care about the movie. But basically, they're just like floating in space. And dude, this is why it is so terrifying. Imagine floating in space. Imagine it. Imagine it. Are you imagining how fucking scary that is? Like, I don't think you guys understand how scary that is. Floating in fucking space. It is so scary. You are, because I'm pretty sure I'm not an astronaut, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a genius, but I'm pretty sure you can float, not for, well, forever. Like, say you lose oxygen, you die, you're still just floating there, lifeless. And you, I think if you're close to Earth, like if you're like on, because that's, gravity will push you down to Earth. I cannot remember what it is, but I know gravity will push you down to Earth. I don't care. And so at that point, like you're floating, but you're slowly coming down to Earth's surface. But now think about this, right? You're floating down to Earth's surface. Once you really reach the atmosphere and you start plummeting, you're gonna catch on fire. There's a lot. I think you like lose oxygen, like the more you spin and all that. I can't remember what happens when you spin, but if you spin, it's bad. It's just a lot of shit that could go wrong, and that is terrifying. 110%. Scary as shit. One of the scariest things. Nothing is good about it. And so, like, as cool as space is, as I think it's like really cool, but as cool as it is, I personally cannot be someone that goes up there and lives. Also, like, it's not smooth sailing either. It's not something like, oh, you know, it's just zero gravity, you're chilling. No, you need to be like, not jacked, but you need to be pretty well shaped, because if your body starts to like become used to the whole like zero gravity thing, it actually has some negative things that you really don't want with that. And so like you kind of have to, like astronauts in like on the space station or whatever, like they'll work out every day, they're exercising every day because you need to. once you like start your bone, I can't remember what it is, so I don't want to say exactly what the problem of like not working on zero gravity is, but it fucks up with your body in a way that I can't remember how it is. But you gotta like work out a lot, you gotta stay in shape, you can't just do nothing. It's a lot of work. It's not a simple go to space and you're chilling. No, it's a lot. And then you kind of need to be a genius. They're not gonna let idiots go to space. That sounds like a no-no. That's a no-brainer, you know. Don't send people with no brains to space. That's a no-brainer. So, there's a lot of rules to the whole space thing, surprisingly. But other than space, time is sick. Like, and I'm not talking about like, yeah, seconds are cool. No, I'm talking about the whole concept of time. It's confusing as shit. Like, if you've ever seen a show that has like the basis of time travel involved in it, it is so confusing once you really think, because there's so much theories. There's so much theories to time. There's the whole like, there's a theory like, oh, if you go back in time, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't really change time because time is always in a linear motion no matter what. So if you go back in time, that's what was supposed to happen, blah blah blah. That's a whole theory. That's pretty sick in my opinion. There's the whole theory of that you can't actually travel through time, but it's actually dimensions that are close to your timeline, if that makes sense. So like basically, like say I go back in time, once I go back in time, that changes the time in a sense of like it. So it's basically like I go back in time. Say I ate a corn dog yesterday, right? And it gave me food poisoning, right? So I'm like, I have a time machine. Let me go back in time. I go back in time and I tell myself, don't eat the burrito. You're gonna, you know, be food poisoning, bedridden, blah blah. And so I don't eat the burrito. Now I've created a different path. So when I go back to the future, I've still had the food poisoning. Nothing's changed. But in that timeline, it goes to another dimension, and it follows a whole different path. So like say I didn't eat the burrito and now I'm president of the world. It's an exaggeration, but like say that, right? That's that timeline. But then there's the timeline that I did eat the burrito and now everyone can fly. There are different timelines. So, and I don't, see, this is the theory that I'm not quite sure about. Because I don't know if you can go back in like if you can go back to that timeline. That I'm not sure about. That's the only thing I'm not 100% sure about. But that theory exists. And then there's obviously the normal thing, like if you, you know, the butterfly, what is it? What's the word? The butterfly, not the butterfly theory, the butterfly effect. That anything as simple as a butterfly flapping his wings can have drastic changes. And so that's basically saying, like, if I go back in time and I do a little thing, no matter how minuscule it is, it's basically saying that can have drastic changes to the future. But it's still your timeline. So, like, say I go back in time, and same scenario. Burrito, food poisoning, I go back, I don't eat the burrito. Now, instead of it creating a different timeline, it is now the same timeline, but when you go back, everything is different. So like say I ate the burrito, right? That was the main timeline. And because of that, I graduated with sorry about that, I had to edit something out. But say I graduated with a PhD because of the timeline that I did eat the burrito. But now I go back and I have 4 arms. I don't know how that works. Like the timeline, because I went back in time, told myself not to eat the burrito, and now I have 4 arms. It's the same timeline. Surprisingly, because I can go back to it. If you can go back to the thing and everything is different, that means you're in the same timeline. You changed it. That's that theory. If you go back and nothing's changed, that means it's the dimension theory. This is also confusing. But here's the confusing thing, right? So with the theory that no matter what, that's the way time is supposed to go, that's the confusing part, right? Because say I go back in time, it's burrito situation again, burrito situation. Say I go back in time to stop myself from eating that burrito, right? What would happen is, wouldn't I remember that? So if I'm in the future, right, I ate a burrito, got me sick, I wanted to go back, not eat the burrito, I go back in time and I warn myself, hey, don't eat the burrito. If I say it to my face, I have no idea what it is. Please don't be a ground type. Okay, cool. Like, I say it to my face, don't eat that burrito. If the theory is no matter what happens, you were always supposed to, that was always supposed to happen, like you were always supposed to go back in time, blah blah blah, etc., then wouldn't I remember myself going back in time and telling myself not to eat the burrito? Realistically, logically, yes. But like that's what no one like really goes with, because like everyone who does the whole theory of like, oh, it's supposed to happen, it's like in shows and whatever, when they do that theory, they're always like so confused about it because like, wait, so that was always supposed to happen? Yeah, you were supposed. Don't you remember that? It's very confusing. Time travel is so confusing. It's so weird. I think one show that is confusing but also does it justice, does the time travel justice, because that's its whole thing. Haven't seen season 3 yet though, so I don't know if they've messed it up. But one show that did it really well was Dark. I think it's a German show, but it's on Netflix. Has 3 seasons, and they do time travel in an interesting way. It's very interesting. Storytelling wise, it's very cool. It's just a nice thing to do, because usually shows that do time travel, it's always fucked. It's always bad. And some shows like Rick and Morty stray away from it completely because no one wants to be confused by it. One thing and here's the thing, I'm not sure, so they might have said it differently and they might have explained this. So if you guys know about this, comment down below, because I'm about to say something, right? In Dragon Ball Z, there is a arc called the Android arc, Cell Saga arc, whatever. Saga, I'm sorry, it's Saga. And in that, Trunks comes back in time to warn people about the androids and all that, blah blah blah. And when he goes back, nothing's changed. It's different dimensions. He's made a timeline that leads to another dimension now, or universe, whatever you want to call it. And so he'll come back, and he lives with them so he can get stronger. So when he goes back, he can defeat the android himself because he can't change the past till it goes to the future. Whatever. Great. They did that. They explained it well, and it was always that thing. And in that timeline that Trunks is from, Goku's been dead for years. The main character of Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta's dead. Piccolo's dead. There's no Dragon Balls. Everyone but Trunks and Bulma is dead. Right? Makes sense. But here's the thing. In Dragon Ball Super, there's a villain called Goku Black, which is Goku taken over by a god. Oh shit! Spoilers, I guess. Honestly, if you're watching this and you don't watch Dragon Ball, that's so weird, because I don't know, whatever, I watch Dragon Ball, so same interest, whatever. Spoiler, it's Goku, but he's taken over by a god, like they switched bodies. Is that what it would be? Like they switched whatever the hell it is. So the god is in Goku's body, and the god is also, like time-wise, it's also there, and he's immortal because he wished to be immortal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The god thing makes sense. But here's that doesn't make sense. In that universe, Goku's been dead for years, and the only reason Zamasu, which is the god, got the idea to take over Goku's body was because he fought Goku. But Goku was dead in that timeline and couldn't fight Zamasu. But that's what doesn't make sense. So is it? So because this is so confusing. Because in Dragon Ball Super, there's different universes. Universe 1 through 10. They don't actually pinpoint if Trunks is in a different universe or not. Whatever, blah blah. But that's the whole thing about it. So the only thing is, would Goku be in several different universes? Can he exist in different universes or not? And if that's the case, why haven't we? Because then there was an arc where they did a tournament, and all the best warriors from each universe fought each other. So it's so confusing. I don't know. For me, it's just very confusing. It is very confusing. I actually don't understand it. If you can explain it to me, please explain down below. Comment down below, because they basically just messed it up, and that's not even something I'm aware, I'm surprised about. Because the thing about Dragon Ball, and I feel like I'm gonna get so many people wrong, Akira Toriyama, he's a good storyteller, but with the anime and Akira Toriyama himself, he messes up a lot in the story-wise. Like, he will retcon things because he'll forget about something. Like, if... I don't know if anyone cares, but with Goten and Trunks, when they were kids, they didn't have tails. And so, the reason they didn't have tails... I could have just kept a little gas. I do have to train them. But the reason they didn't have tails, Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, said, "Oh, I just forgot that Saiyans had tails." Which, okay, I don't really care. Like, it's not a big thing for me. But, like, how do you forget that? Also, Super Saiyan, I heard the reason he created Super Saiyan was because it was so much work having to, you know, paint or color Goku's hair because it's black with the ink, and it took so long and so many times, so he made the Super Saiyan blonde. So, because in the manga, you don't have to color it in. You could just leave it blank. You would draw the outline of the hair, but leave it blank. That's how he is. He finds shortcuts. He can't remember everything. It's quirky, I guess, and kind of interesting in the sense. But that's I guess that's who he's always. It's who he's always been. And I find it funny, but like everyone's always surprised about the fact, like, oh, you know, it's like, Dragon Ball Z has some like issues with the story. Yeah, especially with a show that runs in for so long. Ooh, this is an encounter that I will do next. It's like, I'll do it now, just for you guys. I'll do an encounter right now. Anytime though. I just don't want to fight. Okay, there we go. God damn it, it takes so long for someone I already had. Okay, let me try again. If it's a Magnemite, I'll fish. I will not end the episode until I get an encounter. I promise you guys. Anytime. While we're looking for an encounter, I will ask my question of the day. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna ask my question of the day. What is your favorite movie, your favorite show, anime, comic, villain? So out of all the villains in like a TV show, in a comic book, in a movie, anything, any villain, a bad person, what is your favorite? My villain, that's complicated. I have different favorite villains for each genre, and you could do that too, each genre, yes. I'm naming him Hector, by the way, I don't care. Mine is very different depending on the, like, I don't know, I just have different ones for each one, like comic bot, like all that. My favorite comic villain, I don't want to be basic and say Joker, but I really do enjoy the Joker. So I will say the Joker for comic book. For movie, yikes, I don't know. I did like Heath Ledger's Joker. It's my favorite villain I can think of. Favorite anime villain? Ooh, that's a hard one though. Because the show and anime would be the same. I really enjoyed Miriam from Hunter x Hunter. I don't want to say that's I liked a lot of villains from Hunter x Hunter. Did not like a lot of villains from Naruto because they're interesting, but the sense of like they're not my favorite. No way in hell. Like, I like Itachi, but at the same point, is he really a villain because he did good things? Are any of them really a villain because they had good intentions? It's a very complicated topic. What else? There's a lot of villains. Write down yours, guys. I'm really curious about yours, and I'll probably comment down below what mine is when I can think about it. Other than that, I'll see you later. Love to see y'all. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Don't miss any of the content that's gonna drop, especially after this one, and we're dropping new content. And other than that, I bid y'all adieu.